Yo guys, welcome to the Zelda fiction. Today we are gonna see, what if Naruto was the Xenomorph King and got Harem? Part 1. Huge shout out to Tanami Forever for this story. If you end up liking this video, please consider subscribe, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Flash of lightning appears from the sky as the rain heavily pours in the night. In a forest somewhere in the land of fire, the Moya triad were hoping tree by tree to escape from the rain. They weren't gonna make it to a nearby village in time. So they would have to find a nearby shelter somewhere or make camp. Which would be very impossible to do with the ground really muddy. Great, we're getting soaking wet. Mo complained. We can't even find shelter in this forest. And the village we're heading for is still a long ways off. We're not gonna make it in time with this storm in our way. You said. You two settle down. We'll find shelter somewhere. Aniki, the leader said. Yeah, and how we're gonna find it? Mo asked. Suddenly, a flare was launched in the air. It lit up the forest, surprising the brothers. They were in defensive stance, thinking it was an ambush by Rouge ninjas. Looking around to see if the enemy was ready to attack. Aniki saw a figure appearing from the darkness. A person wearing a cloak to hide its face walked towards the brothers. You looking for shelter? A male voice asked, almost sound like a robotic tone. Come with me. The hooded figure turned around and walked to where he came from. The brothers were looking at one another. Had to make a decision to go with him or just leave. I have a bad feeling about this. You saw how he just came out of nowhere in the darkness and shot up that flare. It's like he was watching us. You said, in a nervous tone. Should we trust him? Mo asked. Aniki looked up to see the flare was about to be dimmed because of the raindrops. It was a tough decision he had to make. We're gonna have to listen to what he say. He's giving us shelter for the night. We can't say no for an answer. Right now we gotta get out of this rain and catch up to him or we're gonna be lost. He said. The brothers agreed as they hurried to catch up with the hooded man. The flare was now out and darkness returned to the forest. They saw the man with a lantern, signaling them to know where he was at. The brothers followed him, remained cautious in case of any trap or ambush he was leading them to. It was a silence walk. Only the sound of rain and lightning would be the noise. The group exit from the forest as they enter a clearing. The brothers notice something on the edge of a hill. A flash of lightning revealed to be an unknown temple with a domed roof on it. It wasn't like an Asian temple, but almost it was never been revealed or seen before. After the long walk, the group finally enters the temple. Torches and candles on the walls and ceilings to help light the place. The brothers dried themselves with towels. Placing their wet clothes to a nearby wall. The brothers were surprised by the place. The walls and floors were made of metal with grids and glyphs. Wow, this place is something else. I've never seen anything like it, Mo said. Never seen this place before in my life. I wonder if this is forbidden or something. There are other temples on the map, but this one is not on it. I wonder why. Ya asked. Suddenly, they heard a sound of a musical instrument being played. The brothers walked toward the location of the sound. They were getting closer where it was getting louder. The brothers walked through a big room. It had 4 faces statues on the wall. Little bit of raindrops from the ceiling at the middle dropping to the floor. They saw the hooded man playing some type of flute. The brothers walked towards him. Still have their kunes with them just in case. The figure stopped playing the flute to turn around towards them. You must have heard me with this. I made this flute myself. It's pretty nice. He said. Listen, we just want to say thank you. Aniki said. We of course were trying to get to a nearby town and settle for an inn. But the rain was heavy, we were running out of options. Anyway, if it's okay we'll be staying for the night here. The rain should be gone by the morning and we'll be on our way. I see. Yes, the storm won't let up for the time being. The headed man replied. But please, don't go to the other rooms that are off limits. You might wake them and her up. The brothers were confused by that statement. What did he mean them and her? What is he talking about? Ya asked. Aniki wanted answers from the hooded man. But he was already gone. Disappear out of sight like a magician would do. I never got a chance to tell him what his name was or show us his face. He said. So what are we going to do? Mo asked. Like I said. We'll stay here for the night until the rain is gone. Aniki said. Until then, I guess we can take a look around this place. Should be interesting to find out what this place is. Remember what the man said. Ya answer. We can't go to the rooms that are off limits. He should have told us about what rooms he was mentioning about. Mo said. Well, either way. Let just be on guard. You never know, temples like these always have traps. Be on guard and let's see what happens. Aniki said. The brothers split up as they began examining the temple. But what they didn't know, something hanging on to a metal beam was watching them from above. It snarled at them with saliva drooling from its razor-sharp teeth. Quietly, it disappeared in the darkness. Mo entered through a tunnel. Using a nearby torch to see where he was heading. There were other torches on the walls. He kept walking to his destination, whatever it was leading him to. He comes across a doorway with weird marking on it. Almost looks like skeletons of a mysterious creatures that he never seen before. The skeleton has a large curved oblong head. He touched the markings on the door, only for a hissing sound to surprise him. The doors slowly open. He walks inside the room. It was pitch black. Despite the torch in his hand, he still couldn't see. Suddenly, the light were coming on by itself. Reveal a room with a little mini waterfall in front of him and a puddle full of water. There were another part of markings of the strange creatures like on the door. He took a sigh of relief, walking over to the puddle. Grabbing it in his hands and splashing to his face. He took another round by drinking the water, which is more pure than any other water. He placed another inside where he felt an object in the puddle. He grabbed the object out of it, revealing a gray forehead protector. The metal plate shows the symbol of Kumagakuraka, the hidden cloud village in the land of lightning. Mo was even more confused. Why was this protector here? It feels like he and his brothers are not alone here and someone was here before they did. He noticed the reflection of the puddle of something above him. He looked up with his eyes wide. A woman, unconsciously, was wrapped in mysterious black webbing on the ceiling. What the hell? Is that a woman? Mo thought as he jumped in the air and landing on a metal beam. He pulled out one of his kunais, ripping off the webbing which was sticky. Took a couple of seconds to get the webbing off. He grabbed the woman and retreat back to the floor. He grabbed another round of water, placing it inside her mouth to wake her up. He put another round of water in her mouth once again until finally she started coughing. The woman has long, straight blonde hair bound with taut bandages. Dressed in a short-sleeved black and purple blouse and black pants, both of which had a design similar to clouds on them, purple fingerless gloves and a chain of blue beads around her left hand. The woman slowly opened her dark eyes. It was blurry, trying to get it focused to see. "Are you okay?" She heard a voice as her eyes finally came in focus. She looked up to see Mo above her. "Are you okay?" he asked once again. The woman regained conscious by surprising him with her arms around his neck. Putting him in a chokehold, she dragged him to the puddle. Placing his head in the water, trying to drown him. But she wasn't gonna kill him. She wanted questions by interrogating him. Mo was grasping for air. Bubbles were coming from him on the surface. The woman pulled his head out of the water. He was grasping after that. "What the heck was that all about? Is that the thanks for saving me?" he yelled. "Shut up," she replied, grabbing his kunai, putting the tip of the blade near the right side of his head. "All right. You better start giving me questions and I want answers. Who are you? Are you working for that David guy? What are you talking about? Me and my brothers were here seeking shelter because of the rain. I saw you surrounded by a ton of webbing on the ceiling." Mo answered, still catching his breath with the woman's arm around his neck. "I'm just examining the temple until I saw this room." "Are you lying to me?" she asked in her angry tone. "No, I'm not. I'm telling the truth, I swear," he said. Finally, she unwrapped her arm around his neck as Mo was coughing, trying to regain his composure. The woman was looking around for something. She grabbed her sandals and a kunai holster. She was also looking for one more thing. Looking for this. She turned around seeing Mo with her forehead protector. "Thanks," she replied as she grabbed it and placing it back on her forehead, tying it. "You're from the land of lightning. I can tell by the logo on your protector. What are you doing here in the land of fire? How did you get caught?" he asked. "It's a long story. My squad was ambushed. That was the only thing I can remember. But I know full well it was that David guy that set us up," she replied, getting her kunais ready. "Wait a minute. You mean the hooded man's name is David?" Mo asked. "That's him alright, and I'm gonna try to find him and end his life one way or another," she replied. "By the way, you said you have brothers here in this temple." "Yeah. We're just splitting up and looking around at this place. I didn't know we're not the only ones here," Mo said. "My god. He's gonna luring your brothers into a trap. Quick, let's find them," she said as they ran to the exit but stopped for a minute. "By the way, my name's Yujito Nai. I'm Mo." "I know it's a stupid name," he said as she chuckled. "Come on, let's find them," she said as the two departed from the room. They didn't notice the same figure was above them the whole time. Hearing everything, the mysterious creature disappear in the darkness but follow them. He was in another part of the tunnel. Looking on the metal walls showing the markings of the creatures. Looking where they were eating like humans on it, which was a little graphic for him. He continued on forward as he come across a doorway. He put his hand on it, only to flinch when a hissing sound was heard. The door opened slowly where the lights were coming on slowly in the room. His eyes were wide like a deer in a headlights when he came across a disturbing scene. The room was full of black webbing from the ceiling to the walls. There were multiple eggs everywhere. Some were already hatched from the top of them. But the disturbing part that almost made you vomit. Bodies of dead shinobis were pinned to the walls by the webbing. There were big holes on their chest with their blood everywhere in the room. It was like something came out from their chest. He gotten closer to examining the bodies. He looked at the symbol on their forehead protector. It shows the logo of Kurigakure. These shinobis were from the land of water. These people came from the land of water. How in the world they came all the way to the land of fire? What was they doing here? You thought. Help me. Mo flinched when he heard a slow voice. Looking around for the source of the voice. He already knows it ain't from the Kiri shinobis on the wall because they're dead. He looked back at the eggs, not want to touch them. No telling what would happen. Help. Me. The voice was there again. He was getting nervous. Feels a ghost was here in the room. Suddenly, a water drop hit him on the forehead. Causing him to look up, he saw Young wrapped in black webbing. His eyes were opening, blinking signaling he was still alive. He leaped in the air, landing on a metal beam. He quickly pulled out his kunai, ripping all the webbing. He grabbed the young man and landed back on the ground. The man went on his knees, breathing enough oxygen from his lungs. The man has short messy gray hair which fell over the right side of his face and spiked up on the left. His eyes were pink, pupilless with a stitch-like scar running from under his left eye, all the way down the cheek. Are you okay? Ye asked. But they didn't notice, one of the eggs behind them was opening from the top. Something inside the egg was moving and ready to escape from it. The young man wore a gray, sleeveless shirt with a Kurigakure forehead protector attached to the front short-sleeved mesh armor, over which he wore a green poncho. He also wore a turquoise sash around his waist, paired with a matching green apron over his pants. The man looked up to his savior. Thank you for saving me. He said. You're welcome. It's a good thing I heard your voice. I was about to leave this place and give up. Thinking I was hearing things. You said. What's your name by the way? Igura Itachi. The former 4th Mizukage of Kurigakure from the land of water. He introduced himself. I'm Ya. It's nice to me. He stopped for a minute when he realized his jaw dropped. Wait a minute. Did you just said you were a Mizukage? Yep. Yugura answered with a smile. You examining him everywhere. Are you sure? You really look like a pipsqueak that is too young to be a Mizukage. He asked. That set off Yugura. He grabbed his club and whacked you on the head. Which caused him to get a big bump on his head. Idiot. Say pipsqueak again I dare you. He said in an I'm anger style. Really? This is the thanks I get for saving you? You asked, rubbing his bump. Anyway, what are you doing here especially for the Mizukage to be here? Maybe I can ask you the same thing. The former Mizukage replied. My brothers and I were on our way to another town, but the storm was getting heavy. You explained. We tried to find shelter somewhere until a hooded man came out of nowhere and offering shelter for us. That's where we came across this temple. Wish you guys should have said no. Because he's lured you and your brothers into a trap. He did the same thing to me and the rest of my squad. Yugura pointed his finger to where the Kiri shinobis were on the walls. And I'm not the only one, a girl named Yugato has been captured here as well. But we have to hurry and find your brothers and the girl before it's too late. We must warn everyone about what's he planning. What are you talking? You asked. I'll tell you more later. Let's get of this room. Yugura stopped when he sensed something. Turning around, he noticed one of the eggs open in front of you. Look out. Suddenly, a spider-like creature burst from the top of the egg onto his face. It tightened its 6 legs on both sides of the head. Its tail tied really hard on his neck. He falls to the ground, fighting hard by using his hands to try pry off the creature from his face. Screaming, almost losing breath, Yugura ran up to him. Pulling out his kunai by cutting the creature, with blood gushing out. The former Mizukage started to scream in pain. Some of the blood splash on his left arm, grabbing his right hand to cover it. He hear the hissing and bubbling sound on his left arm. The creature's blood is highly acidic. Gritting his teeth because of the pain, he tries to take it, but it was too strong to handle. He grabbed the kunai to cut the creature until its death. He grabbed the creature off of his face, throwing it to the side. Are you okay? He asked, seeing him freaked out. Son of a bitch. What the hell what that? He was freaked out, but Yugura slapped him to get him controlled. I needed that. But what was that came on my face? Looks like one of those that came out from the eggs. Yugura answered. I don't know about you, but we better get the hell out of. He was interrupted by something crawling on the wall, slowly, that was behind Yugura. He pointed his finger to where it was, trying to warn the former Mizukage. I'll look out, BB behind you. Yugura heard a snarl from behind him. He slowly turned around as his eyes were wide as hell. His heart was beating at a rapid pace. The two saw a creature that is a humanoid type but was different. It had an elongated cylindrical skull but possessed no visible eyes and had segmented blade-tipped tail. The tail have a flat ridge of spines at the base of the blade. Its razor-sharp teeth dripping saliva, ready to feed for some flesh. Oh shit. The former Mizukage said. The creature roars as it charges towards the two. Aniki enter a room where the light automatically turn on. Looking around, he saw drawings of strange creatures. He grabbed one of the drawings to examine them. I never seen these kind of creatures before. What in the hell does this man knows about them? He thought as he referred to the hooded man. He continues to examine the other drawings around the room. He noticed on the table a map of the whole continent including the 5 great countries. They were X marks on the map, marking all villages around the continent. It also show arrows directing towards the villages. What this person been doing? Is this like some kind of an attack plan? I see you stumble across my room. Which I told you not to enter. Aniki turned around seeing the hooded man at the entrance. Alright, I want answers from you. The elder brother replied. What the hell is all these drawings of strange creatures? Plus, I found this map of the 5 great countries. What's with all these X and arrows pointing towards every village including the main villages? It's like you're planning some kind of an attack. The hooded man slowly walked towards Aniki as the elder brother slowly moved his arm towards his kunai pouch, ready for any attack he would do. Something that needs to be accomplished. Something that a new world that can be created by her to roam the face of this planet. Something that can be rid of this human infestation. Something that can give peace to this world. He explained like a poem he was reading. Who is her? What the hell are you talking about? He asked, trying to get more information. The hooded man stood face to face with Aniki. He took the cloak off of his head to reveal his face. The two stood there staring at one another for seconds. I would love to tell you about her, but David leaned into his right ear. You won't witness that moment. He surprised him by stabbing Aniki to the left side of his stomach. The elder brother felt the blade enter his flesh for seconds when David pulled out the blade. Aniki falls to the ground. Sitting up, putting pressure on the wound with both hands. He tried to get the kunai from the ground, only for David to kick it to the side. Aniki was running out of options as David walked up to him, ready to end his life. Don't worry about your body. Because once you're dead, he raised the knife towards him. She would feast upon your flesh. Aniki closed his eyes as David was about to go for the final strike. Suddenly, a kunai came out of nowhere, hitting the knife away from David's hand. The two look around seeing Yujito with an angry glare towards him. Mo was right behind her as he saw Aniki sitting up. Shit, brother. He ran up to get his brother on his feet. How in the world you escape? David asked. That's none of your concern. The Kumo Jonin said as her nails grow longer. Still, looking towards David with anger. You killed the rest of my squad. A monster like you thinking you're God. I know full well you're planning on capturing my tailed beast to use it for power. I'm not gonna let that happen. You really are that smart. But don't worry, I'll see through the land of lightning will be taken down by me real soon. But you won't be part of that once you're dead. He replied. Damn you. Claw creation jutsu. Yujito charges towards the humanoid, going for a quick kill with her long nails. But David dodges her attack. He answered back with a kick to her groin, sending her backwards to the wall. She looked towards the brothers. Find your brother and Yugura and get the hell out of here. I'll deal with this monster myself. The brothers quickly exit from the room. David grabbed her from the ponytail, throwing her out of the room, flying her towards one of the face statues. She landed on the ground in pain, trying to get back up. David kicked her in the groin once again. She did a quick teleport from the ground. She was in the air, going for another strike with her flying claw. The humanoid dodges the attack like before, but she answers with a kick to the stomach, sending him backwards to the wall. The Jonin tries to go for another strike where David dodges her attack. He grabbed her by the arm, kicking her to the ground. Mo carried Aniki in the room where they saw the fight going on. David saw the brothers. So it appears you haven't leave yet. Good. Maybe I can give you a chance to see death. He snapped his fingers where they heard multiple loud clawing sounds scaling on the walls above the ceiling. They heard the sound of roaring as well. 3 figures dropped down, surrounding the brothers. What the hell are those? Mo asked. The creatures slowly rose up on their feet. They were taller than ever. Looking at the brothers, snarling at them. Dripping saliva from their mouths. Ready to feed to flesh from them. The brothers were horrified they never seen these type of creatures before. Except for Aniki, who saw the drawings in the room thinking they were just art. But they were real. Say hello to my creations. The Xenomorph warriors. David answered. Holy shit. We're fucked. Mo said, frightened by the creatures. Don't worry, they won't bite unless you make them angry like they are right now. David answered in a taunting way. What we're gonna to do? Mo asked but no answer from his elder brother, who only afraid of his life. I guess we'll make this quick. David said, ready to snap his fingers. Leaping bullet shell tower. Yugura surprised everyone by curling himself into a ball, crashing in the middle of the room. The warriors quickly dodges the attack by moving onto the wall. The former Mizukage appears in the room with his club. Yujito. He ran up to the Kumo Jonin. are you okay? He asked. I'm fine. It's about time you showed up, she said as he helped her on her feet. Eyes, are you okay? He asked as he saw the wound on Aniki's stomach. What happened to you? That son of a bitch stabbed me. The elder brother pointed his finger at David. I'm sorry, guys. I should have listened to the two of you. Full well he couldn't be trusted. So the former Mizukage has also escaped. Never thought the two of you would escape thanks to the help of those fools. No matter, since you all here. I guess you can join the face of death. The humanoid. I'm not gonna forgive you for you did to my squad. I'm a person that hold grudges to my enemies. You are one of them. Now you feel what you did to us. He said. Ready, Yujito? I'm always ready, she replied. The two closed their eyes where light was surrounding their bodies. Suddenly, two large mysterious creatures came from behind them. Behind Yugura, a beast resembles a large turtle, but with a crab-like shell, spikes all over its body, and 3 shrimp-like tails. Under its shell, it has red, muscle-like tissues. It has a pair of human-like arms and hands, but no hind legs. His face is concealed between a large forehead and lower jaw, both of which have spikes. Its eyes are red and have crimson pupils. Behind Yujito, a two-tailed, like a Bakaneko, and it's completely engulfed in flames, like a kasha. It also has heterochromatic eyes, the right being yellow and the left being green, similar to an odd-eyed cat without pupils. You called us? Matatabi asked. What is it, Yugura? Isobu asked. David saw a glimpse of two-tailed beasts. So the stories are true. They are for real after all. He said. Hope you like what you're gonna get. Our beasts can wipe out your enemy so much, you're gonna regret everything you've done. Yujito said. The Moya Triad were shocked to see how big the creatures were. They have heard stories about the tailed beast which they are thought it was a myth. But now, the stories were indeed true. Yugura turned to the brothers. You three, you better get out of here while you still can. Get to Konoha and warn everyone what's been going on. The former Mizukage said. What about the two of you? Aniki asked. We'll be fine. We'll make sure we put an end to this once and for all. Yujito said. Besides, it's your concert. The more blood you lost, you'll gonna die. You must get that patch up if you want to live. She was referring to the wound on Aniki's stomach by David. You better go now before he goes after you. You must hurry. Yugara said. The brothers were worried for the two, but understand the situation they were in. We'll be praying for you get out safely. Aniki said. Go now. Yujito said as the brothers exit from the room. So these are the tailed beast. How interesting. David said, not surprised by the size of the beasts. Now then, I guess we want to fight with size of strength. I guess it's time we finally wake he up. He snapped his fingers where the lights behind him turn on automatically. The lights show a huge door behind the humanoid. A loud hiss causing the door to open slowly. Suddenly, they heard a loud roar from behind. One by one, large footsteps were approaching the doorway where it opens. Yugara and Yujito got in defensive stance as their beasts were ready for anything it comes out. The doors were fully open and they were stunned of what they were seeing. It was a large type of xenomorph. It had large head and large arms and legs. Its barbed tail was even longer and bigger. It can rip up any human flesh in 1 second. Its razor-sharp teeth dripping saliva on the floor. Other warriors appears from the doorway, also want to get in on the fight. It was right behind David. I give you the rogue xenomorph. Of course you can call it the Xenomorph King. He said. The Rouge roared really loud at its enemies, echoing almost all over the planet. Yugara and Yujito were horrified by the creation. Even Matatabi and Isoba were stunned by it as well. They were indeed had a fight on their hands to deal with. Outside, the storm was long gone. The full moon bright up the night sky. The Moya Triad looked back at the temple where they heard the loud roar. They were at the edge of the forest. It was a nightmare they would never forget. Pray for them get out safely. Mo said. Come on, we better get to the village fast as possible. Yu said as they entered the forest. Not looking back at the temple. It was just the beginning of a new danger that was lurking in the continent. Nobody doesn't know what awaits the countries. But it was sure, a nightmare was coming soon that will plague the planet to the darkness. It was a beautiful day at the Hidden Leaf Village, located in the Land of Fire. At a training ground, a familiar loud-mouthed ninja was busy practicing on his usually power. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto Uzumaki yelled as he called a clone of himself. The real Naruto used enough chakra, transporting towards his left hand. He felt the power getting stronger on its hand, he feels the wind blowing around him. You ready? He asked his clone as he nodded his head. Then let's do this. He said. The clone used both his hands, waving it all around the real Naruto's left hand. It shows a blue sphere appearing above his hand. Slowly, the sphere grew a medium size. Carefully, don't want it grow too big. The two Narutos looked towards a dummy near the creek. Here goes nothing. Rasengan. They charged towards the dummy. Sending the sphere towards the dummy with force, the sphere plows through the dummy, destroying it. The sphere then flew in the distance of the wooded area. That was awesome, boss. The noisy ninja turned to three young genin of Team Abisu, who watched the whole thing nearby. You really got to teach me how to do the Rasengan someday. Konohamaru Sarutobi, the late grandson of the third Hokage said. Trust me, these things take time to do. Naruto explained as his clone disappeared in a puff of smoke. The Rasengan takes years to create. I had a ton of help with both Jiraiya-sensei and Kakashi-sensei. These things take a while do. I kinda feel like I still need a ton of work to do to get to the final step. What is the final step? Mogi Kazamatsuri asked. It's perhaps the toughest one yet. But I'm not gonna quit on the whole thing just. I just gotta keep on working as much as I can on the Rasengan to get it to full strength. Naruto said. By the way, where's the other Rasengan you just used? It looks like it went into the forest. Yuden said, always with snot coming out from his nose. Oh, don't worry. It will disappear though it has taken damage in the woods. It won't take any damage from other houses. Besides, what can possibly go wrong? Naruto asked, with a foxy grin as usually. However, that grin would quickly disappear. They heard an explosion somewhere in the village. They left the training ground in a hurry to find the source of the explosion. There was no damage anywhere at the buildings or smoke rising. They teleport to the wall of the town gates where there was no damage either. Now the noisy ninja and Team Abisu were confused. Where is the explosion? There's no buildings damaged. Naruto said, still looking around. Boss. Konohamaru said, tapping his finger on Naruto before pointing his finger at another direction. The noisy ninja turned to where the genin was pointing. His jaw dropped all the way to the ground. The Rasengan damaged the face of the fifth Hokage on Hokage Rock. Naruto was now frightened and maybe fearing for his life. You know what, boss? You don't have to worry, I mean she just an old hag who probably not gonna remember nothing. She probably doesn't know it was you. The third Hokage's grandson said. Yeah, you're right. She probably won't know it was me that damaged her face. The noisy ninja said with a foxy grin. Once again, the grin was wiped off his face when a loud scream echoing throughout the village, calling his name. The windows at every building shattered. Naruto Uzumaki. A woman voice was heard throughout. The noisy ninja was now nervous and scared than ever. Well, boss, I knew you well from the start. Konohamaru said. Konohamaru. The same woman's voice was heard as the young genin's jaw dropped to the ground. Something tells me it's not gonna be pretty. Mogi said. Yuden said. Mizukage's office Kurigakure, land of water. In the office of the Mizukage in Kurigakure, Aka the hidden mist village, Mei Terumi the fifth Mizukage looked to her reports and signings of more paperwork. She has been bored of paperwork every single day. She just wished she wants a vacation and a man in her life which she dreamed of being married to. Though it was a duty to restore the village reputation from the last Mizukage. The doors came open as she looks up to see two of her bodyguards running to her desk. Give me a good reason why you disrupt my work. She said. Sorry to interrupt, Lady Mizukage. Chijuro said, pulling out a scroll and putting it on her desk. But this came from the Hokage via one of their messenger birds. May untie the knot and open the scroll. She began reading it until her eyes went wide. What? The fourth Mizukage's squad is missing. How? She asked. They should have sent a message to us on their arrival a couple of days ago. Ao explained. The Hokage said the convoy of many of our trade agreements didn't show up to the day they would be at the Hidden Leaf Village. We all know Yagura is a tough guy. There's no way they would disappear out of thin air. When was their last report? The Mizukage asked. Last report was they were traveling towards Kisaragi village. That was the last report we had from them. Chijuro said. What do you want to do? Ao asked as the Mizukage got up from her seat, turning to the window, looking at the village. It doesn't make any sense why he and the entire convoy would disappear like that. I know Yagura is a powerful person and he'd take on any enemy. She said before turning around to her bodyguards. Get a scroll and send a message to the Hokage. Get my boat at the docks ready for takeoff. We're heading for the Hidden Leaf Village. Yes ma'am. They both said. Hokage's office. The office windows were all broken thanks to the scream. Both Naruto and Konohamaru stood in front of the desk where they were shaking in fear by the look of the fifth Hokage, Tsunade, Aka the Slug Sannin. She was no doubt bossy and mean with a temper you don't want to mess with. Next to her is her assistant Shizune with Tenten the pig in her arms. She was afraid and shaking after the Hokage's screaming. No doubt that this meeting was about to get a little scary. So, Naruto. Care to explain why my face on Hokage's rock is damaged? Tsunade asked. Well, you see Granny Tsunade. I didn't think the rassing, he said with a nervous chuckle, only to be interrupted by her fist slamming on the desk. Quit calling me Granny. She yelled. The boys were shaking to their skins. feeling like their bodies would be put in a grave soon. As I was saying, Naruto explained, still shaking. I was training hard with the Rasengan. I went charging for the attack on a training dummy and it just launched into the forest. I would have thought it disappear after it was launched. I didn't think it was gonna hit your face. Finishing his conversation, Naruto just rubbed the back of his head, chuckling nervously. But the mean look on the Hokage's face hasn't vanished. Konohamaru tapped his friend's back as he stopped chuckling. I know your history of painting the Hokage's faces when you were still in the academy. And yes, Iruka-sensei told me about it. Tsunade explained. But anyway, as your punishment, you will begin rebuilding my face from scratch. What? Naruto yelled. You will use a hammer and a chisel to complete the stone by nightfall. Tsunade said. By nightfall? It's gonna take forever. The noisy ninja said. Besides, I was gonna hang out with the others to go to the Akiniku-Q later today. Well, maybe next time you should have not used the Rasengan to damage my beautiful face. She replied. Don't worry, you'll have all day to get it finished. With the help of Konohamaru. What? What did I do? The third Hokage grandson asked. You're calling me an old hag, brat. Now get moving. The Hokage ordered. The boys had their heads down, exiting from the office. When the doors closed, Naruto brought up an idea. Hey Konohamaru. How about we use shadow clone jutsu and let our clones take care of the business for us while we head to the Akiniku? That's a great idea. She won't know what hit them, boss. Konohamaru said. I believe that won't be necessary. The two turned to their right, seeing 4 people walking up to them. One was a man, covering his mouth while reading an Icha book. The other was wearing a bandana and glasses. The third has a ponytail and a scar that runs across the bridge of his nose. Kakashi-sensei, Iruka-sensei. Naruto said. Ibisu-sensei. What are you doing here? Konohamaru asked. Suddenly the doors behind them open as Tsunade appears from her office. Oh yeah, I forgot. I ordered these 3 to keep a close eye on the 2 of you. I know you 2 are gonna use your shadow clone jutsu to try to escape your work. Nice try, but I'm always one step ahead of the 2 of you. Have fun with your work. She said with that devilish smirk as the boys dropped their heads in shame. Sorry, guys. She threatened us to obey her orders or we're gonna be the ones in trouble. Iruka said with a smile. Why my life sucks. Naruto said. Konohamaru, you better listen to the Hokage or our heads will be on the chopping block. Come along now. Ibisu said. The boys followed their senseis still with their heads down as they exit from the building. In the office, Tsunade walked back to her desk to resume her work as Shizune spoken. Lady Tsunade, but isn't kind of a bit harsh to let the boys do that kind of work. I mean it's kinda too much and you really scare the third Hokage's grandson as well. She said. Onik. Tenten said as the Hokage leaned back on her chair. I guess you're right. But thanks to Jiraiya, he did taught him to the Rasengan when he trained him early on. She said. By the way, where is Jiraiya at? I haven't seen him in the village all this week. Her assistant asked. He's at Mount Myabuku visiting his parents. A toad messenger came to deliver to him from his parents. I don't know what it was about, but it was urgent, so he decided to go and see for himself. Tsunade said, getting a cup of sake. Where is Mount Myabuku by the way? Shizune asked. I'm not sure. The only person know about it is Jiraiya. He uses a summoning technique to get there. It's not even on the map so it's a secret place. Tsunade said, drinking the sake. My see. Shizune replied. Onik. Tenten said. Suddenly, a messenger bird entered the office from the window that was broken. Shizune walked up to the bird. Noticing a scroll on its back. She grabbed the scroll and walked to the desk. Must be from Team Guy. They said they were on their way back from their mission. She said, giving the scroll to the Hokage. Let's see what it is. Tsunade said, untying the knot and opening the scroll. She was surprised at something. Wait a second, this is not from Team Guy. This is a scroll from the Mizukage. What? Shizune asked, a little surprised. It said that she'll be coming to the Hidden Leaf village in a couple of days. She said a convoy with the 4th Mizukage was coming here to the village. She explained. I don't remember hearing that from the Mizukage. I would have been informed by it a long time ago. She turned to her assistant. Have you been keeping up with all my scrolls in the past? Yes. I've never missed out a single scroll. Shizune said. Weird. The Hokage said, turning back to the scroll. Why would she send me the scroll about the convoy and her arrival to the village unannounced? She continued reading the scroll. It said here that the convoy's last report was heading for Kisaragi village. So what do we do then? Shizune asked. Send a message to the Anbu commander. Give him the location to where convoy's last position. That way we can see if we can find the 4th Mizukage. Tsunade said. Yes, Lady Tsunade. Shizune said as she exited the office. Mount Miyabuku. Somewhere in the land of toads, Jiraiya Aka the pervy sage was visiting his parents for the day. That would be both Fukasaku and Shima Aka the great toad sage. Though Jiraiya would call them Pa and Ma as usually. He looked in front of him to see various bugs in a bowl and plate on the table. Recalling his time when he was young, he would eat them as part of his training. It was disgusting, but didn't want to make Shima devastated. Ah, little Jiraiya. See, this kind of food brings you back to your memories during training. The female toad sage said. Sure. It does. He said, putting a fake smile. Yeah, right. It tastes disgusting when I was little. I rather have normal food than this. The pervy sage looked to Fukasaku, eating every food on his plate. Even swallowing a big worm to his mouth like a snake, like he was starving. Same old man like before. It's so great to have you back here in the house to come and visit us. The male toad sage said, grabbing a napkin, cleaning his mouth. Actually, it was you sending Kasuke a message to me from you. Thanks to you, I'm trying to work on my project only to be disrupted. The pervy sage said. The only project I know you're doing is your perverted books, including looking at beautiful women at any hot spring or flirted with anyone in the village. Fukasaku said. Besides, I'm surprised that the 5th Hokage hasn't killed you yet for flirting with a woman. I thought you two would make a great couple. Let's not go there. Besides, she's been busy with work and all. Plus she too busy going to any bar to drink sake and get drunk. Trust me, if she was going out with me, I would already been in a position to be with me at the time I met here when we were genin. The pervy sage said, eating a couple of bugs from his bowl. Anyway, changing subject. Why did you want me to come meet with you? The male toad sage smile turned to a serious face. The reason I brought you here is we could see trouble in the horizon. He said. What are you talking about? Jiraiya asked. Couple of days ago, I met with the great toad sage Gamamaru. Fukasaku explained. He invited me to come to his temple. At the same time, he was looking through his crystal ball. He felt his entire body shaking in fear like I never seen before. He told me he sensed a brand new danger in the horizon. This enemy he mentioned isn't human or anything. He even told me this enemy is not on bent of talking over the planet, but bent on destroying it. The pervy sage's eyes were wide. But quickly realized something. Is it Sasuke he's referring to? I know he's on a vengeance to go after his brother for the Uchiha massacre before taking his anger on this entire country. He then brought another individual he remember from the past. Or is it Orochimaru? If it is him, I'll make sure he's dealt with before he has any plans to attack. Is not both Sasuke or Orochimaru? As I mentioned, this enemy is not human, and he also not only trying to destroy the planet, but he's planning on capturing all the tailed beast within his grasp with the help of these mysterious creatures. Fukasaku said. Wait a minute. I thought you said this enemy wasn't human, and who are these creatures you're referring to? The pervy sage asked. Fukasaku closed his eyes for a minute before opening them back up. Because I know who he is and I met him a couple weeks ago. Flashback. Many weeks ago, both the two great sage toads, along with Gamakichi, were inside a mysterious large cave. There was a little light thanks to some of the ceilings with holes of the outside. But Gamakichi used a torch for light to see where they were going. The cave itself made of razor-sharp rocks on the ceiling and the ground. Are you sure the great toad sage said about this location? You know how senile he's been. Shima said. I know he's been senile for quite some times. He's always been right on things. Fukasaku said. The journey through the cave was a quiet one. Only sound of dripping water drops from the ceiling, creating some puddles on the ground. As they continued their exploration, they came across another large part of the cave. They stumble upon a waterfall inside the cave. The light shines above the waterfall. While looking around, Fukasaku hopped off Gamakichi's back. He noticed something to the left of them. He was astounded at what he saw. Shima, Gamakichi. Come look at this. He said as the other toads hopped to his location. They stumble across a large asymmetrical wishbone-shaped craft with thickened central sections between two horns, which bend upwards. The ship was damaged thanks to some of the rocks. They look above, seeing a large hole that can light up the large cave. It may have crash-landed on this location. What on earth is it? Shima asked. I'm not sure what it is. But it would be interesting to see inside. Fukasaku said as he hops to the ship. Are you sure about this? I have a bad feeling of what's inside. Gamakichi said as the two followed him to the ship. They approached the entrance of the ship. It was pitch black as they lit up the torch for light. They can sense a bad feeling inside their bodies, knowing what's lurking inside. They proceed to the inside of the ship. It was like a tunnel, whatever it was leading them. Only sound they can hear were the dripping sound of water. Puddles were inside the tunnel. As they continue to walk, they turn to their right and notice a doorway in the middle of the ship. Wonder where this leads to? Shima asked. Amakichi tries to use his hands to pry the doors open. The door was so tough to open. Fukasaku notices a button next to the door. He hops up, pushing the button with his hands. Suddenly, lights all over the ship lights up including the door as it slides open. The toads were surprised by what they saw in the room. They hop inside to see how large the room was. In between, they saw biosuits with weird-looking mask on the nose that looks like an elephant long nose. They enter and the bridge of the ship consisted of 4 sarcophagi, a control mechanism made out of some sort of biological-like material, which is activated through the use of an engineer flute and the pilot's seat on the center of the bridge. This is unbelievable. What is this? Gamakichi asked, surprised look on his face. I'm not sure what this is. Fukasaku said, looking around at the technology they never seen before. But this object looks like a ship from another part of the universe. How did this got here to this planet? Shima asked. That's a question I really want to know. Fukasaku said. Amakichi looks around through the bridge. He looked at one of the sarcophagi. He noticed one of them were open and like someone escaped from the pod. Suddenly, he saw something dripping on the pod in front of him. The toad touches it, noticing it was sticky. He saw more dripping coming down. Then he heard a snarling above him. He looked up, seeing a creature dropping down towards him. The toad dodges its attack, crashing on the sarcophagi. Fukasaku and Shima turn around, hoping next to Gamakichi. The 3 toads were to see the Xenomorph warrior appearing in front of them. The creature growled, dripping saliva non-stop. The toads were surprised they've never seen this creature before. My god. What is this creature? Shima asked, almost terrified by the sight. I don't know what this is, but it looks angry at us. Fukasaku said. The warrior looks up, letting out a roar throughout the ship. Suddenly, they heard other roars as a response. The toads looked to see 2 Xenomorph warriors and 2 Xenomorph runners appearing behind the warrior. They all snarl at the toads, ready to attack its victims. What are we gonna do? Gamakichi asked. Simple. We're gonna have to fight them. Fukasaku as the toads got into defensive stance. The Xenomorphs charged towards them. The 2 runners went after Gamakichi, while the 2 warriors went after Shima, and the main warrior went after Fukasaku. The fight was now on. Amakichi pulled out his tanto, swinging it towards the runners. The first runner dodges the blade with its head. It answers with a tail attack as the toad dodges it. The sharp edge of the tail almost scratched the side of the orange toad's face. Luckily escaped death. The second runner came from behind, trying to tackle the toad. Gamakichi dodges the assault. The toad answers with starch syrup gun by spitting out a large amount of high viscosity water. The runners were caught in it, trying to get out of it, relentless like a pack of wolves. Ha! Can't get to me huh? The orange toad said. Well, let's see you love this one. Flame bullet jutsu. The toad spit out a fire release technique from his mouth where the flame shot towards the runners, burning them to a crisp. He could hear them screeching in pain before dying. A sigh of relief. But what he didn't notice that something was right behind him in the shadows. Amakichi, behind you. Shima yelled. The orange toad heard her yelling as he quickly turns around and saw an Xenomorph warrior, tackling him from behind. Gamakichi was in terror as he came face to face with the creature. The warrior growled as its mouth. Showing another mouth inside of it. It was ready to deliver a tongue strike to the toad. Gamakichi closed his eyes, noticing death was coming to his doorway. Hiding tongue slash. Fukasaku let out his long tongue, cutting through the warrior's long head before cutting the entire body in half. The warrior spray out its acidic blood. Many of it splashes on Gamakichi's leg and arm and other part of his body. The toad felt the pain big time. Fukasaku rushed over to help the toad. He saw the blood on the ground, melting, creating a hole. The blood is very acidic. Are you okay? I'm fine. But it sure hurts. The orange toad replied, trying to heal the pain. We just got to be careful with these things. Just find a safe place out of the battle. Shima and I will take care of them. Fukasaku leaped back to the battle. Shima hopped along the walls of the ship. She saw the warrior behind her, hanging onto the walls. It was chasing her. The toad turned around as she jumps off the wall. She began using her wind-release dust cloud by exhaling a massive cloud of dust from her mouth. It was thick enough to capable of blocking the enemy vision completely. The warrior was looking around for the female toad. Out of nowhere, Fukasaku uses his Fuma Shuriken. Throwing and spinning the 4-bladed, cutting the creature in half. None of the toads were near the acidic blood, but the blade had some of it, melting the blade a little. Both Fukasaku and Shima came across the last 2 warriors. The 2 toads jumped in the air, using their sage art power. Frog call. Together, the toads release a large, loud and immensely powerful sound waves that effectively annoy, distract and temporarily paralyze any afflicted targets completely. The warriors were holding their heads, screeching from the power by the toads. But it became a distraction as Gamakichi pulls out his tanto, jumping in the action despite the pain from the acidic blood. He quickly cut both warriors' heads off. He jumped quickly away from them before they spray acidic blood. The three toads regroup. Looking around, seeing many of the Xenomorphs' dead bodies on the floors. They were cautious in case of more were to attack. However, they heard clapping sound. They turn around behind them as a man in a cloak appears from the shadows, clapping at the toads. I never thought frogs would exist in fighting my great creatures. The cloak man said, with more Xenomorphs appearing from behind him. The toads were in defensive stance, ready for another battle. But the cloak man ordered his creatures to stand down. Don't worry, I won't fight you. It'll probably be quick by squashing the three of you with my foot. But seeing you defeated my creatures, I spare your life for now. He said. So these are you creatures? How in the world you created them? Fukasaku asked. That's for you to know soon once I begin to destroy this planet with my own bare hands. The man said. By using these creatures? Shima asked. Why, yes. That is one good answer by a frog with a brain. He replied. Who are you? Is this your ship? Gamakichi asked. I haven't introduced myself. The man pulled down his cloak to reveal his face. My name is David. I have come to this planet for one good reason. To end the human extension on life throughout the universe. With the help of these creatures, I soon will have my hands on not only on this planet, but my hands on the tailed beast soon. You're a monster, I say. And yourself as a human who shows hatred to another. There's no way that will not happen. Especially if you get yourself a hand on the tailed beasts. You have to go through their users in order to capture all of them. And with the likes of you with no powers of chakra, you can't beat them. Fukasaku said. Oh, don't worry, I already have 2 of them in my hands now. David answered. What? The 3 toads replied. That's 2 down and the next one's to come. The humanoid said. How did you do that? Who are the you captured? Fukasaku asked. You find out soon enough. In the meantime, I want the 3 of you to leave here at once. I have plans to get my ship ready for the next phase of the plan to start. David said. Armageddon is about to come. And this planet will usher a new dark age. Something that is never seen before. What is this dark age you're referring to? Shima asked. Like I said, you'll soon find out in the future. For now, it's the calm before the storm. David said, walking back in the darkness along with the Xenomorph. The 3 toads stood there in shock. But they know for sure a new danger was lurking. And they were looking at the devil just now. Then flashback. Jiraiya was in shock after hearing the toad story. I'm not sure what this David person was. But this one has the power to control these creatures. And now with not sure who are the 2 tailed beasts he captured. If he can capture all of the other tailed beasts, the world itself could be in grave danger. Fukasaku said as the pervy sage shot up from the table. Why the hell you people didn't call me then? I would have come and helped you 3 out. He asked in an angry tone. Now, little Jiraiya. We didn't want to worry you. Plus you have a village to protect. Shima said, trying to calm him down. What about Gamakichi? Is he okay? He asked as he heard the door open. He turned around and saw the orange toad enter the house. Wrapped up in bandages from where the acidic blood hit him. Hey Jiraiya. Long time no see. The orange toad replied. Thank God you're okay. He said. Ma and Pa told me what happened when you guys journeyed to where you guys encountered the creatures. I don't even want to think about those creatures. They've been giving me nightmares at times I couldn't sleep. Gamakichi said. I see. Jiraiya said. Little Jiraiya, what are you gonna do now? It seems this David guy will do all its powers to try to destroy this planet. Fukasaku said. We're gonna have to warn Tsunade about this. Plus, we have to know who he kidnapped and who were the tailed beast he captured were. He said, turning to a window. I have a feeling we're in grave danger than before. Hokage Rock. At the monument, the faces of the Hokage looked towards the village. But for Naruto and Konohamaru, they were not in a good mood. Using a hammer and chisel, they were working on refacing the 5th Hokage's face from top to bottom. Both Kakashi, who was reading the Icha book, Haruka, and Ibisu were keeping a close eye on the boys in case they escape. Kakashi, would you please stop reading that book? You know full well the Hokage is gonna kill us. Ibisu said. Come on, I'm reading the fun part. The copy ninja said. Besides, if I recall, Konohamaru said to me a couple of days ago, you read those books on your day off. No wonder you're a pervert just like when you look at Naruto's sexy jutsu. Kakashi laughed as Ibisu covered his mouth. Shut your mouth, idiot. He replied. You guys really are idiots. Haruka said, shaking his head and letting out a sigh. No wonder where the laughter was coming from. The 3 turned their heads to see the others walking towards them. Shikamaru, Choji, Kiba, Akamaru, Shino, Sakura, Sai, Ino, and Hinata. What you guys doing here? Kakashi asked. We were just on our way to the Yakiniku queue. We were all looking for Naruto to see if he was coming. Sakura said. Actually, he's down there. Kakashi said as the others looked down seeing the two boys working on the fifth Hokage's face. Alright, what did he do now? Ino asked. How about we ask him? Shikamaru said. Hey, Naruto oh and he's not alone. He also has Konohamaru with him. Something tells me they did something wrong. What a drag. He sighed before calling Naruto's name. Hey Naruto. The noisy ninja looked up seeing the others. Hey, guys. What did you do this time, Naruto? It's line one stupid thing you do and you get in trouble. Sakura said. Well, it's a long story. He replied. Naruto was training with the Rasengan. The copy ninja explained. He used the sphere to destroy a dummy and only for it land towards the fifth Hokage's face. Doing a ton of damage. Now, Lady Tsunade has punished him by rebuilding the face. And why is Konohamaru helping him? Kiba asked. He called the Hokage an old hag. Ibisu said. Oh my god. Sakura said, slapping her head on her hand. Seriously, these guys do stupid things and get themselves in trouble all the time. Unfortunately, guys. Naruto can't join with y'all until he finishes building the face. Haruka said. Damn that sucks. Shikamaru said as Choji heard his stomach rumbling. Come on, guys. I'm getting hungry. Can't afford to go on an empty stomach. He said. Odd, Choji. You really are such a pig. Ino said, shaking her head. Yeah, we better get going. Shikamaru said before turning back to Naruto. We'll give you something on the way back. Gotta go. Please, Naruto. Don't get yourself in trouble. Sakura said as they waved goodbye to the others before leaving to the restaurant. Great, I'm stuck here fixing this and they get to have all the fun. This is so not cool. Naruto said, pouting like a baby. Tell me about it, boss. Konohamaru said. The sun was about to settle down for the day. On the dirt road, Team Guy, led by Might Guy with Rock Lee, Tenten, and Niji, were approaching the village gates after finishing their recent mission. Great work today, squad. In honor of your mission complete, I'm taking all of us to the Yakiniku queue for some BBQ. Might Guy said as the others except for Niji cheered. You know what's funny, Guy-sensei? You're almost like Asuma-sensei when he sends his team over to the restaurant all the time. Tenten said. Speaking of that, I need to talk to Asuma one of these days to get Choji and Rock Lee in a rematch. Might Guy said. Rematch? Tenten asked, confused. We haven't told you. Rock Lee explained. Choji and I were in an eating contest. Both Asuma-sensei and Guy-sensei were placing bets to see who will finish first. Sadly, Choji won and Asuma won a couple of Ryos. But I determined to net light Guy-sensei down and I will win back my pride with enough courage to beat Choji. That's the spirit, Lee. Have enough courage to beat that fatso in that food contest. Don't let him embarrass you. Guy said. Tenten just shook her head with a sweat drop. I'm really surrounded with idiots. She thought. The team arrives at the gate seeing both Katetsu Hagane and Izumo Kamizuki at the checkpoint as gate watchers. They were asleep on the job. Might Guy walk up to them, putting a fist on the table. Waking them up, the two flinch. Looking scared, they look around thinking the Hokage caught them sleeping. They saw the team. Oh, it's you Might Guy. Thank God you scare us to death. The Tetsu said, letting out a sigh. So I'm taking you guys are bored at this job. He said. Please don't tell the Hokage. She's gonna scare us to death and kill us. Izumo said, begging as Might Guy laugh. Don't worry, I won't tell. He said as the two let out another sigh of relief. Anyway, you just came back from y'all mission. Katetsu said. Yeah. Thank God we made it in time before the gate closed. We were just heading to get some BBQ. You guys wanna come along? Guy asked. That'll be our treat. Katetsu and I are really starving to death after this long day of guarding the gate. Izumo said, rubbing his stomach. As they were talking, Niji sent something from behind. He turned around to the gate and see three figures walking towards the gate. He activated his Byakugan to get a good look to who it was. It was the Moya Triad who escaped from the temple. He saw the brothers carrying Mo, whose body was so weak he can't walk anymore. Then he saw Aniki covering the wound knife which has gone worse than before. Sensei, look. Niji said. The others looked to see the brothers walking towards the gate. Might Guy, Katetsu and Izumo ran up to the brothers to help them out. Tenten, Lee, and Niji follow suit. The weapons Junin covered her mouth in shock to see what's going on here. Guy asked. Please, you gotta help us. We have to get to a hospital as quick as possible. Mo is getting weaker than before. We don't know what happened to him. He fell down to the ground and was getting weaker and weaker. The elder brother explained. And what happened to you? Izumo asked, seeing the knife wound on him. Don't worry about it. Just a scratch. He replied. Plus, I need to speak with the Hokage. This is very urgent. She needs to understand what's happening. What are you talking about? Why do you want to talk with the Hokage? Kitetsu asked. You can talk with the Hokage later. Right now, we need to get you two to the hospital. Guy said. We'll go warn the Hokage for you. Izumo said as he and Kitetsu rushed to the Hokage's office while Team Guy helped the brothers to the hospital nearby. Bird headquarters. Underneath the village, a frail old man with black shaggy hair and his right eye was bandaged. A X-shaped scar on his chin. Dressed in a white shirt with a black or dark gray robe over the top of it covering from his feet to just over his right shoulder. He sat in his chair, resting with his left eye closed. He sensed a present in front of him as he opened his left eye. Lord Danzo, sorry for the intrusion. A rude Anbu member said, taking a knee in front of him. But we just send the false scroll to the Mizukage, and our spies are reporting that she will be coming to the Hidden Leaf village in the coming days. Good. Anything else? He asked. Also, one of our spies is reporting that 3 people came from the gate. Wanting to talk to the Hokage. 2 people were taken to the hospital. We learn it's the brothers that came from the temple in the Land of Fire. One of them might snitch to the Hokage, finding out about the secrets of the temple. The Anbu member explained. We can't let them have that, brother. They might use Ibiki or Inoichi to give out information. I want him dead. That goes for the others, brothers. I want them all dead immediately. He ordered. Yes, sir. Oh, and one more thing. The Anbu member explained. We also learned that Lady Tsunade has ordered Anbu squads to search the convoy road by the former 4th Mizukage. They might see something suspicious. Don't worry about that. Just carry on with your mission as planned. Danzo said. Yes, sir. The Anbu said as he disappeared. Everything's coming to plan as we speak. The darkness of the shinobi thought with an evil smirk. The bitch decides to send her Anbu squad towards the convoy. They don't know what's gonna hit them once they go through a trap. It's onward to the next plan. Not only on becoming the Hokage, but getting rid of Naruto out of my village. Dusk was coming as the sun was going down in the village. Many members of the Konoha 11, except for Naruto, were all hanging out the restaurant where Squad 10 would go all the time. Everyone was enjoying their food, but of course, it's Choji who gets in their way of everything, was eating every meat as like he was starving to death. The others, except for Shino, who just ate quietly, look at him like he's crazy and wants more. Every plate and bowls were piling up in between him. Even other people at the tables were seeing this with crazed eyes. Damn, this guy is like a vacuum cleaner. Kiba said with a shocked face. What can I say? You know how he eats. Shikamaru said. And it's becoming a bit of annoying as well. No wonder why Asuma-sensei lost so much money because of this fight, as Ino said, right before Sakura covered her mouth. Ino pig, shut it. The pink-haired Chunin said. Toji stopped eating, looking to his teammate. I'm sorry, but didn't you say something, Ino? He asked. No. She never said nothing. Sakura said, chuckling nervously. Still having her hand on the blonde's mouth, only for her face to turn blue. She quickly pulled her hand off her mouth, giving her oxygen. What the hell was that for, billboard brow? The blonde Chunin asked, angrily. Saving your skin, Ino pig. She replied. Let's see now. The girls turned to Sai, who was writing something down in his book. Sakura say Ino pig and Ino say billboard brow. Must be some great nicknames. Plus, Choji nickname is Fat. The former Anbu was punched to the face by Sakura, sending him backwards to a wall nearby. Everyone draw attention to it, causing one of waiters to come by to their table. Excuse, but do we have a problem here? The waiter asked. Oh, no, we don't have a problem. Everything's all good from her. Sakura said with a smile on her face. Yeah, right. There is a problem. 2 people that are causing the problem. Inner Sakura said. Okay, well, please be peaceful around here. Because we have to ask you to leave at once if this problem happens again. The waiter said as he left. Way go, billboard brow. You almost got ourselves in trouble. Ino said. Oh really? Said the person that started this whole thing, Ino pig. Sakura shot back. Can you two please be quiet for once? We're trying to enjoy our meal here. Kiba said, annoyed by the 2 loud girls. This is such a drag. Shikamaru said. Those 2 already been like this since childhood. Choji said, still eating his food. Meanwhile, Hinata looked down at her food. Not one touch or bite on the meat. She was in deep thought about her secret crush, which is the noisy ninja. It's not the same without him because he would always get angry that Choji would always take his food. For the Hyuga heiress, it was so funny she almost laughed, but keeping it to herself not to be embarrassed by the others. What she didn't notice was that Sakura saw her face head down. Hinata. The pink-haired Chunin tapped her arm, making Hinata out of her trance. Is everything okay? You haven't ate your food. I'm fine. It's nothing. The Hyugaiers replied, but Sakura knew she was lying. The others except for Choji got their attention. Come on, Hinata. I know you're lying. It's not the same without Naruto here, right? Sakura asked, which made the Byakugan user blushed. Ino saw her blushed. That devilish smirk from the blonde Chunin formed. She snuck up behind her, wrapping her arms around the Byakugan user. Sakura and the others saw this. Hinata flinched, but she was blushing and moaning. Sakura noticed that Ino has her hands on Hinata's plump breasts, rubbing them, making her uncomfortable. The others, including the other people in the restaurant, caught by this moment. What are you doing? Please stop. Hinata begged as the blonde Chunin continued rubbing her mounds. Come on, now. Admit it. Ino was whispering in her ear in a sultry tone. You have a crush on Naruto. Don't you? Come on, Hinata. Spill the beans for us. Please stop, Ino. The girl continued begging. The platinum blonde continued to smirk when her long ponytail was pulled by Sakura. Ow. What the hell you did that for? She asked in anger, fixing up her hair. Pervert. Trying to tease Hinata with everyone looking. You're crazy. The pink-haired Chunin said. The girls once again went at it while Hinata was blushing deeply. The boys, except for Choji, Sai and Shino, just shook their heads and sigh. Everyone around the restaurant were looking at the girls yet again. This is such a drag. Shikamaru said. Outskirts of Kisaragi village. On the road leading towards Kisaragi, 6 Anbu members jumped tree by tree, searching for the missing Kiri convoy. The road was covered in a wooded area. They're also hoping there was no civilian journeying on the road if they came across the convoy. The Anbu captain with a boar mask, his identity hidden underneath the mask. He stopped his advancement when he saw something on the dirt road. He turned to his squad as they dropped down to the ground. They stumbled across 4 carriages. One of the Anbu looked at the logo. Sir, this is the convoy from the land of water. The female member said. So this is the long convoy. But where's the others? The captain asked. Investigate the area. Make sure you find anything. The other Anbu members look around the area to search for anything. One member with a cat mask searched the area to the right. She noticed an object on the ground. It was a protector headband with a Kurigakure logo on it. At the same time, she saw a puddle of blood with bloodstains on the headband. Notice a little trail of blood, she followed the trail. Pushing a couple of tree branches out of the way, she flinched when she saw a body. Captain, come see this. She said as the captain to her location. What is it? He asked when he saw the body. He was almost felt to vomit. The body is a Kiri shinobi. Between the chest and stomach, it shows a medium-sized hole with blood all over it. The face of the dead shinobi was horrifying. Its eyes and mouth were wide open like he was freaked out at something. What in God's name do such a thing? Could it be ambush of rogue ninjas? The cat-masked female asked. I'm not sure. He said. Captain. The two turned around as they ran back to the convoy from another voice. They walked to their squad where they saw other bodies of Kiri shinobis. All mutilated of arms and legs scattered on the road. It was indeed a massacre but a more disgusting type. The boar captain walked up to one of the bodies. It shows the face has a medium-sized hole. Like something went through his face and came out from behind. It was an exit wound. So much of the horror they see everywhere. I've never seen anything like it. He said. What you want us to do? The cat-masked female asked. It's gonna take time to get the bodies all picked up and bring it back to the village. The captain explained. With the Mizukage making a surprise to the village, she'll probably want to see her men. We're gonna have to use one of the carriage to put the bodies inside and bring it back to the Hidden Leaf village. I know the stench is gonna smell. Just try to get your minds off of them and let's get it done before nightfall. The other Anbu were not interested in that idea but had to follow orders. It took a couple of minutes to get the bodies in the back of the carriage. There was still blood on the road. Hopefully a storm would come soon to clean it off. It was gonna be a long road back to the village, but with the stench, it was gonna be feel uncomfortable with it. Is that all the bodies? The captain asked. All of them are in the carriage. The cat-masked female said. All right, let's get going before someone would see us thinking we're robbing and killing them. The captain said. Right before they were gonna move, they heard something rusting in the bushes near them to the right. What was that? The others draw their weapons out. One of the Anbu member walked slowly, with his sword out, ready to attack. Right in front of the bush, he used his hands to move the branches off. To his surprise, there was nothing there. Anything? The captain asked. No. There's nothing there. Maybe it was just an animal that got away. He said. Thinking they were in the clear, the cat-masked female sent something approaches towards the member at a faster rate. Look out. She yelled out as the member turned around and out of nowhere, a facehugger leaps in, trapping its body at his face and tying its tail around its neck. The member struggles to yank it out. But it was no luck. The captain rushed to save his friend. But a figure blocked his way, jumping down from the air in front of him. What the hell is that? Beneath his mask was his eyes wide. The Xenomorph warrior lifted its head up, looking at the captain. The two staring down at one another. The creature snared at him, dripping saliva from its mouth. The captain slowly pulls for his sword when the creature lifts its head up in the air, roaring throughout the forest. The others notice another roar within the forest. Suddenly, 6 more Xenomorphs. 3 warriors and 3 drones drop to the ground. Surrounding the ambush squad. The others draw the weapons out. But inside the mask, fear and scarred faces, seeing the creatures. They were on the verge of facing death's door. My god. There's too many of them. The cat-masked female said, shivering in fear. The captain looks back as the warrior turns his head back to face him. This is not good. The Anbu captain said as the creature roared at him, showing him another mouth. Ramen Ichiraku. Just right next door to the BBQ restaurant, Naruto and Konohamaru were eating at their favorite restaurant. Decided to drown their sorrows from being left out of eating with their friends, the two were eating 100 bowls of ramen. So many bowls stacked on the counter. Both Kakashi, Iruka and Ibisu were looking at the boys. Gucci, the owner of the restaurant and his daughter Am, were feeling bad for the boys, thinking they were left out by their friends. I think you two had enough. The owner said. Man, that hit the spot. The noisy ninja said, rubbing his fat belly. You said it, boss. Konohamaru said, also rubbing his fat belly. Come on, guys. I know you're not happy being left out by the others. But just remember who launched the sphere to the Hokage's face. Kakashi said. And who called the Hokage, and old Ibisu almost said it, but Iruka covered his mouth in a quick way. Idiot, better not say it out loud. The academy sensei said. Would you like some ramen to take with you on the way back to apartment? Am asked. No thanks. I'm gonna go ahead and head back home to get some rest. My stomach really hurts. I'll see you tomorrow. Let's go, Konohamaru. Naruto got up from his seat as his friend did the same. Both rubbing their bellies after so many ramen they ate. They walk slowly back to their respected homes. Kinda feel bad for them. Almost like when he was little and how the village treated him. Tucci said. Trust me, I know more about that. Iruka said, referring to the same history as his childhood just like Naruto's past. Suddenly, Kakashi sensed a presence outside. The others got his attention where the copy ninja stood up from his seat and walked outside. He saw an Anbu member on his knee, with his head down in front of him. Sorry for the interruption. But the Hokage has summoned all of the senseis including you to her office at once. He said. Has something happened? The copy ninja asked as both Ibisu and Iruka walked out of the shop to see the conversation. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about it. The Hokage will explain to you once you attend her office. The Anbu said as he disappeared in a puff of smoke. What just happened? Iruka asked. We were summoned to the Hokage's office. I'm not sure what it is about. But it appears to be urgent the most. Either way, we better get going and see what's going on. Kakashi said. Wait a minute. The three turn around to see Tucci holding the receipt in his hands. You forgot about your bill. Don't try to screw me over on ditching me forgetting to pay your tip. Kakashi looked towards both Iruka and Ibisu. For a few minutes he was gonna speak until he teleported out of scene, trying to avoid paying the bill. Ibisu tries to do the same thing, but Tucci grabbed him by the collar. Iruka just shook his head as he'll be involved in this one as well. Konoha Hospital. In one of the rooms, Yu was placed inside a rectangular glass container. Laying in bed, with an oxygen mask on and sleep, many medical nin, part of the medicorps were dressed in hazmat suits. They could tell that his body was in a bad shape. I'm surprised how he got here still alive. Especially when his entire body is getting weak. Yashi said, looking at his notes of the patient's health. There were other results on the oldest brother. Kanpo said, giving him the other medical results of Aniki. Well, the good news, the oldest brother will be okay. The wound from the kunai is not that severe. I'm surprised he hasn't lost so much blood during the journey towards the village. Question is, what on earth happened? Were they ambushed by other ninjas? Yashi asked. By the way, I was wondering about the third brother. Where is he at? He was referring about Mo. I heard that he was sent to the intelligence division building by orders of the Hokage. Kanpo explained. Many people said that he was freaked out or scarred. I wonder why. I'm surprised he wasn't wounded like his brothers did. I wonder what they encounter. Maybe Inoichi knows about it when he uses his mind jutsu to see what they encounter. Hey, guys. The two turned around to see Oyen enter the room. X-rays just came back. You're not gonna believe it, but the two of you needs to see this. Yashi and Kanpo left the room with her. Leaving the other two medical nin behind to keep an eye on Yu, who was still asleep. What they don't notice, beneath his shirt, something was moving slowly and trying to push out. Causing the brother to stir a little from his sleep. The horror was coming to haunt this hospital in a moment of time. Minutes later, the three enter inside the X-ray room. Oyen pulled out the X-ray view, placing it on the light box for a better view. She pointed her finger on an object that was inside the chest of the younger brother. Yashi and Kanpo were shocked at what they were seeing. It was a creature that looks like a large worm that was stuck on the chest part. What the hell is that? Kanpo asked, still has a shock face. That's a good question. I'm not sure what it is. Oyen said. How in the world did it got inside his chest? No way in hell the size of that can get inside a human's body. Yashi said. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, we gonna have to find a way to get it out. Oyen said. Surgery? Yashi asked. Exactly. She said. Hokage's office. Meanwhile, Kakashi arrives at the Hokage's office. He wasn't alone. He saw Asuma Saratobi, leader of Squad 10, talking with Kurana Yuhi, leader of Squad 8. Captain Yamato, who is in charge of Squad 7, even though the copy ninja still has a minor role in the squad, is also in attended. Anko Mitarashi also present, eating her usually favorite dumplings. Finally, there was Might Guy with his team there. The copy ninja walked over to them. Hey Guy. He said. Ah, Kakashi. I guess you were called as well. He said. We're not the only ones. He said, looking back at the others. The other senseis were called as well, except for the other team members. Kakashi turned back to see a little blood stain on Guy's green flak jacket. Wonder what happened to you? I can see your mission was a hard one. Actually, this is not my blood or any one of my team's. Guy said. Seriously? Kakashi asked. Suddenly, the doors open as everyone turn around to see both Tsunade and Shizune, with Tenten the pig in her arms. Everyone took a knee, bowing to the Hokage. The two proceed to the desk as Tsunade sat down with Shizune standing next to her. Everyone got up from the floor. Thank you for coming. I know we should be calling for the night. However, we have some urgent news. The slug Sanin said. Before I continue, where is both Abisu and Iruka? Apology for that. The copy ninja said, rubbing the back of his head, smile underneath the mask. The two are currently at the ramen stand, trying to pay a tip. I'll give them a brief tomorrow if they don't show up on time. The Hokage shook her head, but didn't have time to get in on it. Oh well, I don't have time to talk about it. Now then, the reason you have been called is because we have some urgent news. She explained. A message scroll was sent from the land of water by the Mizukage. She will be coming to the village tomorrow, though it was unannounced at the last minute. However, that's not the only that's important. There is another thing I need to discuss and what led to the Mizukage's arrival tomorrow. What is it? Kurenai asked. There was another part of the scroll that the Mizukage sent me. The Hokage explained. This one I didn't know about until now. The former 4th Mizukage was coming to the village with a convoy. However, they didn't show up on time to the village. Their last location was going towards Kisarig's village. I sent out a squad of Anbu to search for the convoy. They should be back by now since it's about to be night. The others were now confused and surprised at the news. I have a question. Asuma answer. Why we're getting this information at the last minute? I mean, clearly these kind of news should have been announced a couple days ago. Especially with the Mizukage coming tomorrow. We would have all the other team including my own being informed about it. I agree to what Asuma's saying. Yamato said. Look, I understand this was last minute reports. I really don't like these last minute things as well. Right now, we have to focus at what's at hand at the matter of everything. Now, changing to another subject. Tsunade explained more. Earlier today, Team Guy had returned to the village. At the same time at the gates, they encountered 3 men. 2 of the 3 were wounded. One had a kunai wound on the right side of the body. The other was in much worse shape than ever. The 2 are currently at the Konoha hospital for the time being. Shizune is checking up on them. She'll be going back to the hospital once the meeting is over. And the other brother? Kakashi asked. Don't worry about him. The others turned to Anko, who finished the last remaining dumpling before speaking. He's currently in custody at the intelligence division. Both Inoichi and Ibiki will take good care of him. Gotta admit, when he came in, he looked scared as hell. That's what you saw, right Guy? I know that he wanted to tell the Hokage about what they saw. I couldn't tell what he was saying. But I did told him he'll see the Hokage soon once he's interrogated. Guy said. While the conversation was happening, Niji was in deep thought. Earlier today when they encountered the brothers, he used his Byakugan and noticed something was inside his body. Though he couldn't tell what it was, his mind was still wondering about it. Niji. The Hyuga snapped out from his thoughts to see Tenten speaking. Are you okay? She asked. Yes, I'm fine. He answered. I believe this meeting has come to an end. Inform your teams about the Mizukage's arrival tomorrow. Dismissed. Tsunade said. Yes ma'am. The others said. At an apartment building, Naruto slowly walking, rubbing his big belly at the same time. Eating all that bowls of ramen made his stomach hurt as hell. Almost ready to go to the bathroom big time. Grabbing his keys and unlocking the door, he enter his apartment building. Closing the door and locking it, walking to his bedroom. His place is like a third world country. Messing dishes in the sink, dirty clothes, other food and drinks including some that were half full on the floor. I really need to clean my room someday. He said, walking by the mess and enter his bedroom. He was struggling to take his sandals off. For seconds he had a hard time getting his sandals off. He decided to leave them on for the night. Laying down on his bed, the noisy ninja kept rubbing his belly. He could feel rumbling sounds inside his stomach. Man, why didn't I kept eating at that ramen? That was a big mistake. My tummy hurt so much. Naruto said. For a couple of minutes, the noisy ninja went to sleep for the night. Hoping his stomach doesn't hurt that much overnight. In a dimensional place that's inside Naruto's mind, it was a sewer where pipes was above the ceiling. Drops of water dripped to the floor, creating puddles from the ceiling as well. In the sewer was a cage with a do not pull sealed on the cage doors. Inside is a creature with 9 long swiping tails. It has red-orange fur with black fur around its closed eyes that stretches to its ears and the upper body structure of a human, complete with opposite thumbs on its clawed hands. The creature was sound asleep. It snore peacefully unlike the noisy ninja snoring louder so much that it made the creature having a hard time asleep. However, his peaceful sleep would come to an end when a flute was heard playing a peaceful song. The creature's eyes open. Its eyes has redder eyes with black slits for pupils. It slowly lifted his head up. Hearing the sound of the flute playing, it was looking around but couldn't tell where it was coming from. What is this thing I'm hearing? Kurama the Nine Tails asked, looking around as the flute suddenly stopped. Now it stopped. But I'm sensing something that is more danger than ever. The Nine Tails continues to ponder for a minute until something finally snapped him to his mind. It growled in anger. No, it can't be. Back at the hospital, both Kurotsuchi and Mitate were keeping a close eye on Anya, who was still laying in bed inside the big rectangular glass. It was a little silence in the room with the Holter monitor beeping for monitoring heartbeats. The two were looking at more results of the younger brother's health. Suddenly, they heard coughing as the two turned around. At the same time, the monitor was beeping rapidly. Both put their hazmat suits on and entered the glass container. Are you okay? What's wrong? Kurotsuchi asked, putting his hands on his body. Something cough inside me. You said in between coughs. What you mean something's inside of you? What is it? Kurotsuchi asked again, using his mystical palm technique with enough charca to heal the patient. The younger brother's body was shaking rapidly and violently. At the same time, he was coughing blood big time. The heart rate monitor was beeping rapidly even more. Mitate tries to calm him down. Shit, he having scissors like never before. We gotta give him the shot to calm him down. Quick, the syringe with sedition is at the table. Hurry. He yelled. Kurotsuchi exit from the glass container. Rushing over to get the syringe from the table. Running back inside the container, he stuck the syringe on his chest. It caused you to be knocked out instantly. The heart monitor went beeping back to normal. There was still blood on the floor and on his mouth from his violently cough. The two medical nins let out a sigh of relief. That was close. As long as he's okay. I don't know how he body was doing. He said. I don't know either. That was weird. Mitate said. The two stood silence for a couple of seconds. They were about to exit the container until they heard something. They turned around and saw you once again coughing blood again. Out of nowhere, something bust out from his chest. Blood everywhere splashes the container. The object bust through the glass, destroying the container, shattered glass everywhere on the floor in bed. The medical nins look around at the blood. They heard the heart monitor sound. Not the beeping sound but a long beep sound. It signaled the younger brother was dead. They looked to see his chest with a medium-sized hole all bloody. Something popped out from his body. What the hell was that? Kurotsuchi asked. They heard a little screeching sound. They looked to the left of the room. It was like a large worm-like creature, beige or brown in color, and a mouth of metallic teeth and a tail capable of propelling it with considerable speed. The medical nins were stunned to see what it is. All covered in blood, the creature looks around to see where it was at. What we're gonna do? Kurotsuchi asked in a whispered tone. We're gonna have to make a run for it and alert the others. Mitate said in a whispered tone. As long as it doesn't see us, we can make it. Ready? I guess so. Kurotsuchi said as he stepped on a piece of glass. The glass shattered caused the chestburster to turn around and saw the medical nin. It snarled at them. Oh, shit. It saw us. Run. Mitate said as the two make a run for the doors. The creature screeches as it chases them. The two made it to the doorway. Kurotsuchi was the first to make it out of the room. Mitate turned around and saw the chestburster flying towards him. entering towards the mask of the hazmat suit, killing him instantly. Kurotsuchi saw the horror as the creature was eating the flesh. He turned around and made a run for it to warn the others. Meanwhile, Kanpo, Hiyashi, and Oyen exit from the X-ray room. With enough medical tools for surgery, they were heading back to the room until they saw Kurotsuchi running towards them. He didn't notice that he was leaving footprints of blood behind. It was easy for the chestburster to find him. The three saw him freaked out. "Guys, my Tate's dead," he yelled. "What? How, what happened?" Kanpo asked. "That freaking thing is coming," he yelled, even more freaked out to death. "What is it? What are you talking about?" Hiyashi asked, trying to calm him down. Suddenly, they heard a woman's scream coming from the hallway. The four runs quickly to where the scream was. They enter the hallway seeing Maitate's dead corpse and a female nurse corpse on the ground as well. Both covered in blood. There were other bloodstains on the walls and floors. The others were shocked. Oyen covered her mouth, shocked with tears coming out from her eyes. Hiyashi ran over to see the body. Only see his face gone. He was sick to his stomach at what he was seeing. Kanpo got a glimpse of the room. Bloody and pieces of glass everywhere. He saw Ya's body on the bed, bloody. He walked to see its hole on the body. "What the hell happened here?" Kanpo asked. "I saw it," Kurotsuchi said, still scared as hell as Hiyashi grabbed his shoulder. "Dude, get it together. What on earth did you saw?" he asked, shaking his body. "It a creature," he explained. "My Tate and I saw the creature coming out from the younger brother's chest. The thing was so powerful, it just popped out and destroyed the glass container. We made a run for it and it saw us. It caught my Tate and killed him brutality. That was it until I got to you guys to warn you." "Where is it now?" Kanpo asked. "I'm not sure where it is. I didn't look back, I just ran," Kurotsuchi said. "I think I know where it is," Oyen said as they walked back to the hallways. She pointed her finger, seeing a trail of blood on the wall. It was inside the vents. "It's in the vents. That's not good," Kanpo said. "It might be going to other rooms to try to kill the other patients in the hospital," Hiyashi said. "We're gonna have to warn the Hokage and her assistant. We're gonna have to evacuate the hospital and get everyone out before it strikes," Oyen said. The others agree except for Kurotsuchi. They began splitting up around the hospital to warn everyone. Minutes later, everyone was outside the hospital. All medical nins and patients were near the gate. Meanwhile, Tsunade and Shizune, with Tenten in her arms, arrived at the scene. They all see the others outside as they walk up to the other medical nins. "What happened?" the Hokage asked. "We got a situation," Oyen explained. "One of patients that came to the village. The younger brother is found dead. 2 of our medical nins are dead as well." "What? How?" Tsunade asked, her anger boiling. Oyen forced them to look down, seeing Kurotsuchi, still with the hazmat suit, but the mask was taking off. The Hokage and Shizune gasped where they saw blood everywhere on the suit. They could see his body language where he was freaked out for minutes. Tsunade kneeled down in front of him, trying to get an explanation. "What happened? Where's all this blood came from?" she asked, but no answer from. "So what now?" Shizune asked. "Since all the other patients are out of hospital, I'll try to call Kitsuyu to help out with the others," Tsunade explained. "Rest of the medical nins continue helping out the other patients out here. Shizune, have the other forces guard the first floor of the building. Make sure there's other people that didn't escape early on. I'm not sure what is inside, but something tells me that it's bad luck what happening. Be careful." "Don't worry, I'll be fine. I'm gonna see all over the building for whatever it attack. I'll try to escape on time before reinforcements comes," Shizune said. "I'll call the other senseis and their teams to come and aid you," Tsunade said. "Yes, Lady Tsunade," Shizune said before running to the entrance of the hospital. Tsunade used her summoning jutsu as Kitsuyu appears. The slug was really big. The others outside were a little horrifying at the sight. "Milady, you summon me?" the slug asked. "Use your clones to heal many of these people out here. I'll give you the rest of my charka for the rest of your clones," the Hokage answered, giving enough of her charka to the slug. Kitsuyu used clones of herself to appear. Many slugs went to as many people to heal them with Tsunade's charka. While that was happening, the Hokage sent out as many scrolls to the other senseis to send the teams for help. In the hospital, Shizune with Tenten in her arms enters the hallway of where the attack happened. The good news, the lights were still on. She noticed below her footprints of blood on the floor. Could likely be other people that evacuate the building earlier. She follows the footprints. Turning slowly to her right at the corner, her stomach turned as she gasped to cover her mouth with one hand. She comes across the scene of the 2 dead corpses. Walking slowly towards both bodies, she felt she was ready to vomit on the floor. She turned around to the room where blood and glass were on the floor. She walked towards the corpse of Ya. Her stomach turned more at the body. feeling like it was a bad mistake not to come in this place ever again. However, Tenten was feeling scarred as hell. The pig leaped out of her arms, running towards a corner of a shelf. Hiding in there, the pig's body was shaking like nothing seen before. "Tenten, what's wrong? Are you okay?" Shizune asked, trying to calm the pig down. "Look, come on. We're about get out of here and try to get back with Lady Tsunade." At the same time, something was coming out from the vent behind her. Slowly exiting from the vent, it then dropped to the floor. Tenten saw it behind her. The pig was freaking out and scarred to see the creature large and its head rising up. Shizune noticed what the pig was looking out. She heard a snarl behind her. Slowly turning around, her eyes went wide of what seeing was seeing. The chestburster that came out from the body now grows to a xenomorph. Shizune dropped down the floor. She was now scared, trying to move backwards only for her to be blocked to the corner of the room. The xenomorph walked closer towards her. Its head moved slowly towards her face. Using its hand, it grabbed her by the neck. Lifting her up from the floor, it stared directly at her face. Its teeth with seething anger as it slowly opens its mouth, showing another mouth inside. The girl screamed as everything went black. The end. So how was this part? I hope you like it. And if you like it, share this part with your friends and like the video too. And don't forget to subscribe our channel for daily awesome fanfiction. Okay, it's time for me to go. Bye bye.